Hey! Roger! Oh, Rocket Chick Roger! Hello there! Good morning, folks. It's been a while since I've done an actual video here on this channel. There's a lot going on in Ecuador right now, and you know, when I do videos and done them in the past, I try to maintain a sense of confidence and want to project a sense of confidence and optimism and don't really want to be a negative Nelly and do nothing but spread bad news. But so I mean, for the last couple of months it's been very difficult to talk about Ecuador because of the problems that we've had with primarily the energy crisis that we're going through right now, and secondary, my health. And it's not that so much that my health is in jeopardy, uh, but as I mentioned in some previous videos, I got hit with this tinnitus. Some people call it tinnitus, tomorrow. Anyway, if we can't laugh at anything, we might as well just not even be alive, right? So anyway, so I've been going through quite a struggle with that and trying to get through each day because I get really sick from it and it makes me nauseated, and, because of the lack of balance, the balance that I lose by having the hearing loss in one ear and perfect hearing in the other one. So anyway, let's talk to something more important. The energy crisis. We're still we still have scheduled outages. I'm lucky I have a generator in my building here and I have partial power to my apartment. I'm not 100% in the dark. My refrigerator stays energized. Freezer stays energized. I got ice in there, and I'm not losing any food or anything. And I ran a couple extension cords off of the circuit that's the generator is plugged in, or the refrigerator is plugged into, which is powered by our generator. And so at least I have Wi-Fi and I have my television, and I'm not just sitting here in the dark like so many other Ecuadorians are. I'm suffering for these Ecuadorians, the locals that live here that don't have generators, which might be a blessing in disguise because let's face it, folks, there's 7 generators on my street right here where I live. 7 generators that all kick on, and you can imagine what the air is filled up with. The air is filled up with carbon monoxide, carbon oxide, just toxic, nauseous fumes. And it forces me to have to close all my doors and windows, so when the generators run, I don't have access to my air conditioner. And it's going to start warming up here pretty soon, so it might be a little different story for me. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel for this. We need rain. We need water in our reservoirs. We need the new turbines to be installed in Guayaquil. This grid needs maintenance, and they need people that know what the hell they're doing. They need a plan. They need a plan for when stuff like this happens. I've endured power outages ever since I've been here, but since about the middle of September, we've had regularly scheduled power outages. Some days as much as 14 hours without any power. And so it really kind of puts a cramp in your schedule and in your lifestyle. So I don't want to be, too hard. I don't want to be too negative about all this, but I'm telling you right now, life here in Ecuador, especially here in Manta, It's a little rough. So, but don't let that stop you from coming. This will pass. You know, eventually we'll get our rains. Maintenance will be, a good maintenance program will be started on the generators, the power generation systems. And I know everybody's going to want to come on in the comment section and say, you should install solar. Put up wind turbines, build solar farms, build wind turbine farms. Folks, there's no money here, okay? So stop it with all that, please. I have a friend of mine that lives in Monte Cristi. They installed, at the cost of $4,500, $4,500, they installed a power battery system that powers their whole house on 110 volts. And what happens is the system is wired into this power system is wired into their regular house power that's supplied by CNL. And when the power is on, this system gets charged up. And apparently it gives them enough power to run their whole house for like 8 hours just off this one battery pack. It's amazing. But that's very pricey, $4,500, my God. But when you're way out in the country and out away from, I mean, you need power. I don't care what anybody says. In today's day, in 2024, we need electricity. So I'm hanging in here. I'm going to stick around here. I'm going to get through the end of the year, you know, and then I'm going to reassess everything after the first year and decide what I want to do with my life and whether I want to stay here or maybe go to another city here in Ecuador, maybe go back to Cuenca, maybe go to Cotacachi. Those are a couple of places I'm thinking about often. You know, I may go back to the States. So and I know that you care, but please leave your comments about how bad things are in the United States to yourself. I don't want to hear it. I don't believe 90% of it. And I know a bunch of you will probably get pissed because I said that, but you know, get glad in the same pants you got mad in. All right? We all have our own interpretation of how things are going. I'm not going to get political. I'm not even going to allow it on this channel. In case you're wondering, I'm looking at a big ship out there. You know, some big tanker moving out. I'm just making sure they're still floating, you know. It's what I do. Let's see. Somebody sent me something this morning, and let me see if this is worth repeating. Attention. They sent me a link. This is from one of my attorney friends here. I don't know that I should reveal who this is, but the caption that I'm reading from on the link he sent me is, "Attention expat community, massive immigration crackdown underway. Immediate revocation of all visas that were issued without meeting legal procedures." He says, about the visas obtained bending the rules, not for everyone though. Yeah, let me tell you something, folks. If you're here and you bent the rules to get your visa, don't get caught, okay? I mean, that'd be the dumbest thing to do. Don't get caught, because I guess without reading this article here, I would imagine that you'd probably get expelled from the country. And even though the article says, Ecuador revokes hundreds of visas. Massive immigration crackdown underway. I'm going to read it to you. Ecuador's Ministry of Foreign Affairs audits visa issued over the last 5 years. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Human Mobility of Ecuador has launched a comprehensive audit of all visas issued within the past 5 years. That means mine will be in there. This initiative aims to strengthen immigration control and ensure that all visas granted to foreign nationals comply with the legal and administrative requirements established by Ecuadorian regulations. Cancellation of irregular visas. As part of this audit, the ministry is proceeding with the immediate revocation of all visas that were issued without meeting legal procedures or that involve incomplete or irregular documentation. The cancellation primarily targets residents, permits obtained through processes that failed to meet legal standards, including fraudulent documentation, failure to meet essential requirements, improper administrative procedures. The Ecuadorian Air Force is flying overhead. Both planes. Wow. Actually, they probably have more than 2 planes. I'm being a little facetious, but they're coming into the Manta Airport. Okay, so anyway, impact on the expat community. This measure could significantly impact the expat community residing in Ecuador. Foreign nationals who have received their visas within the last 5 years should closely monitor official notifications from the ministry and ensure their immigration documents are in order. Failure to do so could result in the cancellation of their immigration status, potentially requiring them to leave the country or begin a new regularization process. Recommendations for foreign residents. In light of this situation, recommend that foreign residents verify the validity of their visa and the documentation submitted during the application process. Consult with legal experts in immigration law to ensure compliance with current regulations. Keep your legal documents up to date, such as notarial powers of attorney, criminal background certificates, and rental agreements. So, this is a pretty lengthy read. I think what I'll do is I'll put a link to this in the description. This is provided by our friends over at Expats here in they're all over Ecuador, and immigration lawyers and all kinds of lawyers over there. I've done a few videos with Marcos, the owner. So I'll put a link in this in the description, and then you can go and read it in your leisure time. I don't know anybody that's here illegally, but you never know. I do know that there have been people in the past, people that I've known, that were here without a visa, and somebody ratted them out and they got thrown out of the country. I personally would never do that to friend or foe. I don't care. It's just not good to be a rat. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's all I have to say on this little update. I'm hanging in there. Several of my expat friends have left, so I'm kind of pretty much sort of alone, but I'm dealing with this tinnitus problem and the results. And by the way, I am looking at a hearing aid system that's going to maybe help me with that. I tried one last week, but I don't think we did it right, and I ended up taking it back, and I've made another appointment to go back tomorrow and take another stab at it. I've got a few correspondences from people that are experiencing the same thing that I am, and they use a hearing aid system that helps them to mask out and retrain the brain and try and hide this annoying high frequency hissing sound that's in my head. So, okay, that's it for this one. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to this channel. If you did, if you didn't, bite me, okay? But I say that with peace and love. All right? See you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.